Have you ever wondered how artists get on those massive third-party playlists, getting all those streams? Well, we have the man, Mike Warner. He wrote the book, Work Hard, Playlist Hard. You need to check it out. He's going to talk today about the power of third-party playlists. There is so much value in here. We talk about Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Deezer, all those things, everything that's coming up for all those brands, and how you can harness the power of those and get involved with playlisting and build your network. So make sure to stick around. There's a Q&A after and we talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. So heaps of value, heaps in there. Get stuck in, get your notepad out, and I hope you enjoy. Hi, my name is Brock. I am the Managing Director of an agency here on the Gold Coast in Australia. We look after entertainment, live music, DJs, but we also work on artist growth, working with local producers and local, artists that are looking to better themselves and better their the mentality on getting more focused and pushing themselves to put music out there and sort of stop sitting on the fence about things like that. So we've developed a bunch of stuff, but this one I think is going to be my favorite. We're going to try once a month to bring guests on our stream and basically let them talk about what they're experts about. And we've brought Mike Warner in here today, the guru, the self-proclaimed guru. No, the guru named by many artists and many friends of mine. And we got introduced, I think, early this year. Was it late last year?
Late last year, it was old mate Wongo. Yeah,
so late last year, Mike visited Australia, and he actually did a talk for us, but he lost his voice just before he did the talk because he had to talk in Sydney. Was it Sydney? Sydney beforehand? You did a...
Yeah, I landed, had 2 sessions at EMC, and then I was doing what turned into a nearly 4-hour recording session at the Australian Institute of Music where I was talking. And by the time I got there, my voice was damn near gone. So this is kind of a do-over for me. I'm excited I can talk this time.
So basically we just brought him in as he's the guru of third-party playlists and just like playlists in general. He did, was it A&R job for playlists? Am I correct in saying that? I'll let you introduce yourself. I don't want to mess anything up.
Appreciate it. I always like to hear other people introduce me. Stuff I'd never say about myself. Like I'd never say I'm a guru. Like my goal is to make everyone else a guru. I don't want to be known as the guru, but I appreciate that. So my name's Mike Warner. Started out as a DJ, music lover, very young age. Played gigs in my local pubs and got into some nightclubs, and then realized I couldn't do much more beyond that. Got into production. Was pretty shit at it. Got better at it. After years of releasing tracks under various projects and trying to sign a new project that is still running now called Date Night, I realized the labels weren't really looking for it because it wasn't consistently in the same genre. And that forced us to self-release, which forced us to do all of the work ourselves, which means at the time, no one was really paying as much attention to Spotify and the likes. So I dived in head first and learned as much as I could about the world of playlists, from editorial to user-generated, to the world of playlist trades and everything playlist related, which is where I kind of got that title. I wrote this book that is strategically placed here with on it. And
just there.
Yeah, I guess I've become less of a music producer now and definitely haven't DJed in a few years. And just my focus now is helping artists, that anyone that wants to listen, anyone that wants to learn, I'll tell you what you need to do. Today, we're going to go into some of the tools that are available to artists, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I went from a music producer to wanting to help other artists, and I get to talk to people in any genre, which is awesome. I never expected to be hanging out with country music artists and then going and hanging out with an EDM artist in the same day, but I love it. So here we are.
I sort of had like not a similar journey, but like a journey that was like yours, where I was just in managing venues and managing nightclubs, and then just saw, talking to friends around me and artists around me. I just saw the ability to, to basically get into that market, and sort of I knew I could help people get out of their own way. Basically, I've sort of realized that from an early standpoint, and then was like, okay, well, maybe I can just transition from it's basically the same industry. Maybe I can just transition over here and start creating events and creating places for artists to perform and sort of grow their base. So, yeah.
It's really rewarding. And you've done a great job of it. I mean, I got to meet some of the artists that you work with, and they're very humble, very talented, and they're eager to learn and put in the work themselves, which I love.
Yeah, well, that's 100% of why we're doing this is to make sure that there's a space for artists to grow, and that we're going to learn stuff and learn more, more things that as well that I'm not a master of playlisting. I'm here to learn as well. It's about creating a safe space and a good space with smart people that are going to help help everyone push their boundaries, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll leave the chair to you, mate. You can go ahead, and we're going to talk about the power of third-party playlists.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably going to talk about a lot more than that.
Yeah, we're going to ask a bunch of questions as well along the way. Feel free to drop any in the chat if you need to. But I'll change the spotlight over to you.
Yeah, cool.
Do you want to share your screen as well?
Yeah, I believe I was.
Yeah.
There it is. Cool. So if I skip over some of these are some of these are slides I had for another presentation. I added a bunch in today, and as you know, when these things happen, the order can get all kinds of messed up. So this video is usually my intro that I would play to show people what I'm about, but I've already mentioned that DJ turned producer. This is a quick video of my project Date Night, and the reason I'm showing you this is that I'm going to start sharing some numbers directly related to our music, and of course the fact that we went independent, explaining how we secured some of those playlists. And we're going to get into things like the importance of artist playlists as well, and having playlists where your music fits alongside music from your mates and essentially trades, and we're going to knock all of that off today. So let me jump to the next slide here. This is a real quick overview of where we were at earlier this year. So we formed in September 2015. Our collaboration is online. I know I'm Australian, but I actually live in California. And we've got Sharif is in Brisbane and Anders is in Adelaide. So all of our collaboration is done online. We use Ableton, Collect All and Save into Dropbox. And because of the time difference, we usually have somebody pumping away at the track while the other one is sleeping, and then we wake up and keep going. So it's been a real fun process. It's not the same as being in the same room as each other, but it meant that we were able to complete our debut album and still continue to release music up until this day. So up until now, we've got 7 million total streams just on Spotify. We've secured 17 Spotify editorial placements. We've had over 850,000 streams from Spotify editorial playlist placements. And we've had over 1.5 million streams from Spotify algorithmic playlists, which I'll explain in more detail in a second. 1.6 million streams came from independent playlists that aren't curated by people that work at Spotify. They're actually curated by people that just have a Spotify account. So users, or some people will say third-party playlist curators. Then outside of those streams, we have other streams that pick up these numbers, of course. If you added these up, it doesn't add up to 7 million. So playlists outside of the top 100 are not counted in that stream count. We have over 85,000 playlists that we've been added on, regardless of the size. So it could be 0 followers, 1 follower, 10,000 followers, and it all adds up, most importantly. Now, the algorithmic playlists that I mentioned in the middle, I don't want to skip over that. What that is Discover Weekly, Release Radar. The way that you get into those, I will get to in a minute when we jump into Spotify for Artists in more detail. but I want to move ahead here. And then this was an intro about me. We can skip over that.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt. We're just getting.
Sorry?
When do you want me? I'll leave the questions till the end, guys. So keep on putting your questions in the comments, and I'll just save them up for the end. So Mike's going to do his presentation first, and then we'll save him for the end.
Yeah,
thanks, Mike.
Leave him in there, and we'll jump on him at the end. Absolutely, I'm not going anywhere. Cool. So what I wanted to jump into now is some of the artist tools that are available. And as I get into these, I will mention how this works with relations to playlists as well. But I feel like some of this is stuff that is overlooked by artists, and I'd like to see as many artists as possible taking advantage of these. So, and I guess a lot of conversations I've had with mates back home is if there is a music streaming platform that is not available in Australia, they don't necessarily pay as much attention to it. So I sort of want people to start to forget about that and realize that if your music is available around the world, even if you're not able to hear it on that particular service, you should still pay attention. Now, I know Amazon Music is available in Australia, but as I get into some of the other services that you may look at them and go, I have no idea what that is.
Isn't it crazy too with like Amazon Music, how it's like, consider this, like more people are going to have Amazon Music really because of how big it is, number one, in America. Number two, for $7, you're getting like 3 services, instead of, what is it, $11 for Spotify? Is it $11 for Spotify or is it $7 as well?
$11 sounds right.
Yeah, $11 I think it is in Australia. So it's the comparisons are massive, and people are still focusing on just Spotify sometimes. Yeah,
and look, here's the thing. So Amazon Music, you can go to music.amazon.com or music.amazon.com.au in Australia, and without being logged in, depending on your web browser, you can see what's in there. You can see what your music looks like. You can see all the playlists in there. You can check it out without subscribing and paying that monthly fee. Mm-hmm. Signing up to Amazon Music for Artists is free. You don't have to have a subscription. You just have to have an Amazon account. And if you don't have one, you create it. It's free. And then to get access, if you distribute music, if you're independent and you distribute with CD Baby or DistroKid, there's an option to log in with your account, which gets you almost immediate access. If you're with a label or another distributor, then you probably go to them and they should be able to help you to get access quickly. But I wanted to touch on a few of the key benefits of Amazon Music for artists, for anyone that hasn't signed up yet or is hesitating. And I will be doing this for the other services as well. So Amazon has a strong focus on voice. And more importantly, a lot of people have an Alexa device in their house, in their car, in their phone, in their smart speaker, probably places they didn't know that Alexa was and listening.
Alexa was working.
Exactly. So a lot more requests are happening by voice, from everything from following an artist to requesting a specific song or a specific album, to even singing or speaking part of the lyrics to a song. Will get that to play. So they're tracking all of these voice requests, and they have what's known as their daily voice index, where they'll tell you how many people are requesting you using their voice from an Alexa device, how many people are requesting by artist name, song title, album title, or by saying part of the lyrics to your song. So that's extremely useful because it will show you the number of listeners, and then you can start to talk to that audience, which is an upcoming feature that I won't get myself in trouble for. But essentially, there's going to be a way to communicate back to those people as the artist. So I'll leave it at that on that point. But another feature with Amazon Music for Artists, once you're in, you can connect it to your Twitch account. And what happens is when you go live on Twitch, yes, it will go live within the Twitch app, but it will also go live within the Amazon Music app. So if people don't have Twitch, but they have Amazon Music, the app will notify them and say, this artist has just gone live, and they can actually watch your Twitch live stream within the Amazon Music app.
Yeah, that's something that really excited me when I heard about that update.
And it's a double header. And another part of this that they don't really mention, but it is right there when you do this, once you link the two, there's an option to get expedited affiliate status, which means that you can essentially when you go on Amazon Music, people can start giving you donations, giving you bits, which can convert into currency. They can subscribe to your channel. And if you run ads before, during, after your live streams, then you'll make money off those ads as well. So there's options for artists to start going live as soon as tomorrow and have that hit everyone in Twitch and Amazon Music and have people start subscribing and giving them money.
They're basically just really pushing the fact that they want you to, they want to bring as many artists to Amazon Music as possible, and then give them the ability to earn money as quickly as possible as well, so you don't have to jump through the hoops that everyone else is.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's amazing.
The cool thing is people may not be following you on Amazon Music, but everyone's following you on Twitch or vice versa. You'll hit that audience either way. Another feature that they're working on very soon is we know that artists are trying to sell merch, especially right now. Amazon, of course, have their own merch service where they can print and ship on demand as well. But there will be an integration relating to merch. So you imagine you've got an audience that are already following you, and you can notify them about certain pieces of merch and attach that to releases and plug it in your live streams as well.
Mental.
So get on early before that happens. Fans following with their voice. One thing I encourage all artists to do is it's cool to have an Instagram story with a swipe up and go, hey, everyone, swipe up and go and follow me on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, or tell people to go and type your name in the search. But it's even easier to say, if you've got an Alexa device, just simply say, Alexa, follow Brock and the Bandits on Amazon Music.
Sounds like a good group.
It's done. And what's cool about that is it's easy to say. People love talking shit with Alexa. It's fun right now still, so hopefully it stays fun. People like to test these gadgets out. And then what happens is when you've got a new release, because you're now following that artist, on the release day, depending on the Amazon device you have, if you have an Echo, the ring will change to a different color saying you have a notification. It will also show up on the screen if you have an Echo Show, and it may even verbally announce that this artist that you follow has a new song. Would you like to listen to it now? And that's also touching on what I hinted at earlier, where artists can potentially talk to their fans. You imagine if you could, and I'm just speculating here, but you imagine something as cool as waking your fans up on release day when their alarm clock goes off and telling them that your new track is out and they should play it. So we're getting into some pretty cool stuff. And this is the time to get on board and get prepared and start doing these steps. And to sign up for this, you can download the Amazon Music for Artists app.
You don't work for Amazon, do you, Mike?
Don't worry, I'm giving everyone else the same amount of love. This excites me so much because I've had a lot of fun playing.
They're definitely come to play. Like they sat on a bunch of stuff and they've gone, okay, well, here's everything we've got for the moment.
Exactly. So you can go to artists.amazon.com. Or you can download the Amazon Music for Artists app on your phone. Either way, it will work. One thing I've noticed is I've had people come back to me and say, I went to artists.amazonmusic.com and it's just an information site. Yeah, you have to go to artists.amazon.com to get the actual site.
There's still always those ad pages basically for all these things, and people are like, oh, there's nothing there. Exactly. Like, no, that's just the one for the people who haven't signed up yet. They're just trying to like push you to it.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about Amazon. They've got enough love. Let's move on. Anghami. So not everyone knows about Anghami, and that's okay. Anghami is larger in the Middle East, and to give you an idea of why you should be paying attention, even if you can't necessarily tune in where you're based, 21 million monthly users in March 2019. That number has gone significantly up since that, and they are expanding into other markets like the US as well. Anghami give you the ability to directly distribute your music to them, so you can actually bypass a distributor if you're using them. upload your music and upload your music videos directly into them. And then they will give you detailed financial reports, and you can get paid out directly each month. So there's no waiting to get those payments from Anghami. They also have some really unique features which allow you to replace album artwork. So 2 years after that track's come out, you can go in there and upload a brand new piece of artwork over the top of it if you realize that your graphic design skills got better. The other side of that, if you had a rough demo that came out, you can go and replace the audio file with the master. Not that I would encourage putting a demo in there, but you can actually replace the audio files as well.
Can you that could get a bit dangerous, because you could like upload a track and then all of a sudden you're just like uploading propaganda or something.
It still has to be similar. You're not going to go up and completely drop a different track in there. But if there's just a slight glitch, or maybe the master isn't quite there, then you can go back and replace.
Yeah.
So that's Anghami. And what I would say to you is, so I'm in the US, and when I look at Anghami, my music is on there, but I don't see it. Because what happens is the bulk of the music catalog is only available within the Middle East at this time. So what you would need to do is basically hit up, if you had a friend in Dubai or somewhere like that, you'd say, hey, can you just log into Anghami and show me what it looks like for you? And you'd be able to see your catalog. What you can do, though, is in the back end in Anghami for artists, you'll be able to see all of the information relating to your music. So playlists it's in, stream counts. If you upload it directly, they'll give you all the financial reports, so you'll know exactly how much money you're making based on the number of streams as well. And it doesn't take that long. Once you're in, upload your catalog, and then you can forget about it for a while. But it's well worth doing, because it's only growing and they're expanding into more countries at this time as well. And I don't work for Anghami either. The next one is Apple Music for artists. So Apple Music, obviously, when people purchase new Apple devices, they're getting given a subscription for even a few months, sometimes 1 year, depending on what you buy. They're doing a lot of cool stuff relating to radio now as well. And they're even starting to get into hosting the occasional live streams in there, and more video content too. As I mentioned with some of the other ones, you can get expedited access. So if you distribute your music as an independent and you use the likes of CD Baby, DistroKid, 1RPM, or TuneCore, you can log in with your username and password and get almost immediate access. Instead of filling out the form with all your social media and waiting a few weeks for approval.
Sorry to interrupt again there, Mike.
Yep.
Do you feel like Apple is going to make it like a play soon, or like, because I just feel like they've just been the sleeping giant of the industry?
I feel like it's funny. They've been making a play, but people haven't seen it. I've definitely seen the numbers increase. What's unique about Apple is they don't show the counts publicly within Apple Music. They don't show you play counts, radio spins, any of that. So people, an artist can be silently winning on Apple Music and choose not to brag about it and have some ridiculous numbers. And I know some artists that are slowly growing on there right now and getting to the millions, and people don't necessarily know they're doing that well on Apple with their radio play and things like that, because they're not telling them.
Right.
Initially, when Apple Music first launched, my thoughts were that, if a playlist has 10 followers, people devalue it immediately, so why show that? Whereas now, there's definitely enough people on there and there's enough activity. To be honest, I like it not focusing on all of those numbers as far as what people see. It should be available to the artist, but it doesn't necessarily need to be public. I don't care if a song has 100 listens or 1 million. If it's a good song, I enjoy listening to it, I add it to my playlist. Not everyone else thinks the same way. So Apple have kind of taken a different approach with that. And what's interesting when you get into Apple Music for artists is they show you the usual stuff, the stream counts, how many streams are coming by playlists, where they're coming from in the world. But they're also showing you radio spins as well. So they program a lot of stuff across beats, and they have artist radio stations as well. And anyone can start a radio station based on an artist within Apple Music. And I've actually seen people get more radio spins than streams across playlists. And they've just, that's been their focus, is just encouraging people to go on and start an artist radio station. And that's generated enough hype for them to get those numbers up. So then with Apple Music for Artists, you can also upload your artist image. Some people don't know this. A few years ago, there was what was called Apple Music Connect or iTunes Connect, where you could essentially go in and create a playlist and then directly show that on an artist page. And you could also even do social posts and upload videos and stuff. And they axed that, of course. It got too hectic. But we'll create artist playlists. They just won't show on your artist profile right now. But they will still, I have created playlists as date night. And when you go to those playlists, if you click on the name date night, it will go directly to our artist profile. And so we've been sharing those on social media and directing people to the playlist that we curate, knowing that if they click on the name up the top, it will go directly to our artist profile. And the way that is done is once you've got access to your artists within Apple Music for Artists, you open the Apple Music app. There's a settings option in the top right corner, and you will check admin so that you are now showing admin as well as playlists, songs, artists. And from there, you will now be able to tap on that admin button and create playlists as the artist. And the only sort of drawback is you have to do it within your phone right now. It won't let you do it in the app on your computer, but it still allows you to create a playlist as that artist instead of as user 125. So I find that's very beneficial. I wish I could have shared that and showed what it looks like, but I have uploaded the video. I'll link to everyone after this as well.
Yes, sir.
Cool. And that was sponsored by Apple Music, by the way. Moving on to Deezer. So if you haven't heard of Deezer, it's available in more than 180 countries, and that's pretty much all of them. So it's well worth your attention. Deezer, once again, you can go to backstage.deezer.com to request access. It can take a few weeks, so I'd suggest doing it quickly and then coming back to check on it. Some unique features to Deezer Backstage is it allows artists to post a status update similar to a tweet where you can talk about whatever you would like. You can tell people you're in the studio right now or what you had for breakfast. Obviously, how you use that is up to you.
It's something everyone's introducing now. Like even I think LinkedIn just did it now as well.
Exactly. It's
and they've got stories. It's just like everything's sort of like looking very similar to each other. Yeah,
and what's cool about it is when somebody goes to your artist page in Deezer and they see that, they go, okay, this artist is active on this platform. Yeah. This is another home for them. So it feels more welcoming. The other things you can do is you can link to your social media. Currently, you can link to Facebook and Twitter. And so if people discover you on Deezer, that can then lead them to your social media to follow you and engage with you more as well. They let you also upload your artist image and biography. And what's unique about the stream information that they share with you in Deezer Backstage is they will tell you how many streams came from ad-supported users, so free users, versus how many streams came from people that pay for Deezer, paid subscribers. So it's no secret that people that pay for these services, their streams will pay you at a higher rate than those that are listening to ads and streaming your music. So it's always good to see how many are coming, and obviously you would prefer to have more from the paid subscribers listening to your music as well. Cool. And then on to Pandora. So Pandora have two tools that are available, but I'm just going to touch on AMP because this is the most relevant. So Pandora, it is currently available in the US. It has been available in other countries before, and they are working on an expansion possibly next year. The rumor is Canada, and then going from there. But they still have a very large listener base in the US because of how long they've been around and how much people rely on them because of the way that it delivers an ongoing stream of music. So it definitely has a radio feel to it, and it's very customizable to the listener. And so Pandora allow artists to record their own voice messages and have them play. And once again, this is available to anyone. So wherever you are in Australia, around the world, even though you can't listen to Pandora, you can still get access, claim your presence in there, and do all of these things I'm talking about. So artist voice messages they could play before one of your songs, after one of your songs, or even people that haven't told you yet.
Before the song starts, like, hey, welcome to my music channel.
Exactly.
Enjoy.
What artists do is they'll say stuff like, hey, this is Artist X, and this is our new song that's just come out. We hope you like it. If you do,
I have a lot more fun with that personally.
And check us out. So, some people use it as a shameless plug. Other artists will actually attach a small story to their song as well. And then you can also go as far as, what I've seen is another good use case is a song finishes playing and the artist will come on and go, hey, if you like that, I've curated a playlist featuring songs from myself and similar artists. Tap the button on your screen now to listen. And you can actually direct people somewhere else. And, that's completely free. You're not paying to do that either. And then Pandora allow you to feature tracks. You can feature up to 6 tracks per year. What that does is it will put that track in front of more listeners. I've seen numbers anywhere from 25 to 4,000, depending on the artist and how well received the track is. But it's a very short form that you fill out within AMP. And you get to push the song and get it to reach more ears and get some more listeners. And that can lead to Pandora adding it to more programming, feeding it to more listeners in various radio stations as well, just from filling out that short form. Pandora also let you update your artist image and biography as well. And then we've got Spotify for Artists. So if you haven't signed up for Spotify for Artists yet, you definitely should jump on board. One of the biggest features of Spotify for Artists is that they allow you to submit your music for editorial consideration. Now, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed to get into a big playlist. It doesn't mean it's definitely going in New Music Friday or today's top hits or anything like that. But it's giving you a shot at your music being heard and reviewed. And when they first launched this, they actually put out some figures, which was 1 in 7 songs that were submitted using this form were programmed into a Spotify playlist. And as a result of this, when Spotify launched this, they created more playlists, and they also created a series of personalized editorial playlists. Now, what these look like is they're public playlists that anyone can follow. They show as curated by Spotify. The songs within that playlist are different for each listener. So what that means is you could have a playlist. One example is a playlist called Weekend Hangouts. It has over 1 million followers. Anyone that goes into Spotify, if you're sitting next to a mate, open it up at the same time and have a look. The songs within that playlist will be completely different. Spotify essentially have a pool of between 400 and 600 songs that they'll choose from that will go into that playlist based on the listener. And what they're trying to do is capture that listener's attention for as long as they can and feed them more music that they feel that person may like. So what I've seen as a result of being added to some of these personalized editorial playlists is that the amount of streams and the amount of listeners is much higher than the ones that are just straight programmed and are the exact same playlist for each individual listener. So Spotify have created more opportunities as a result of launching these submission forms. Another thing that you can do in Spotify for Artists is when you fill out this submission form, which I'm going to be talking about for a while because there's so many things and so many reasons why you fill this out. But if you fill out this submission form at least 7 days before release day, it's an original track. It's not a remix. It's not a re-release. It's a first-time original track by you, and you've submitted that form at least 7 days prior. It will go into release radar for all of your followers on Spotify. So if you have 10 followers, 100, 500, whatever, it's going into their release radar. So what's cool about this is I've seen some artists do this where they'll just tell everyone, we got a new track coming out this Friday, but if you're following us, it's going to be in your release radar. And, that's actually worked well because people forget that they said that, of course, and then Friday comes around and they go, oh, yeah, I got told that it was going to be in there, here it is. And people start screenshotting it, posting it on social media and tagging them. So it's well worth doing. And then Spotify for Artists allow you to do what's called an artist pick, where you can feature something at the top of your Spotify profile. So you can link to a song, a playlist, an album, another artist, a concert, or even a podcast within Spotify. So if you spoke on someone else's podcast, you could link to that particular podcast episode as your artist pick as well. So it's no longer just shamelessly plugging your latest track. There's a lot of options in how you can use that as well. Spotify let you add your biography, which is pretty standard. But what I like is if you do the little @ symbol on your keyboard, you can actually tag artists in your bio, so that if people are in Spotify and they look at another artist's name in your bio, they can actually click on that and go directly to their profile. So you can give them a bit of a plug and perhaps direct some people to their profile as well, and hope that they do the same for you. I've done this with collaborators and also included other albums as well, and even artists that I've remixed before, just to show them some love in the bio. Spotify also let you feature artist playlists. Now, they will not show as curated by the artist. This is you logging into Spotify as a user, creating a playlist, and then grabbing that link and then going into Spotify for Artists. But it will allow you to show that playlist on your artist profile still. And that leads me to artist playlists and why they're so important, which I know Brock wanted me to touch on. Every artist should have a playlist of all of their music that they've created. That should be the very first playlist that they create. And the reason for that is whenever I discover a new artist, if I go to their profile and they have a playlist and it's Artist X Originals, I'm going to that playlist and I'm pressing play and I'm just going to start listening to their catalog. Yeah. So the best thing that could happen is I listen to every song they've released. That can be dragging those songs to my other playlist as well.
It's sort of one of those, like, because like in Spotify, it's actually so hard to. Sometimes I find it really difficult to like look at tracks that an artist has brought out, and that's why I love those artist playlists, because then you don't have to really fumble your way through album, single, discography, sort of that searching platform that they have inside Spotify. When you can have a playlist and they've just sorted it out and they've gone, here's my top 10 songs and then the other songs that I like, that I've released as well. So you can sort of just go in straight away, access their best songs, and you don't have to let Spotify do the work for you.
Exactly, and you own it as well. So you can place that new track in there as soon as it comes out. Mm-hmm. And artists will go as far as, as I mentioned, for your artist pick, you could make your artist playlist with all of your songs, your artist pick, and go, new track coming out this Friday, follow our playlist to hear it first. And that can lead to people following your artist playlist. And also, if they go to that playlist to listen to that new track that comes out, they press play, they leave it playing, they've listened to your entire catalog once again. Some other cool ideas with artist playlists is if you're building towards an album and you've released a few tracks, you might start ordering that playlist over time, and it might change as you start to get closer to the album. I've seen artists actually say to their fans, hey, follow this playlist, check it out, and tell me what you think of the song order, and if I should shuffle any songs around. Eventually this will become the album and the order of the album. Same deal for a set list. Hey, what would be your ideal set list, when you see me play next? Tell me your suggestions. This is the current order. and make it more interactive and get them to engage with you. They follow with it. They feel like they're part of it and part of the decision-making process with your album as well.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah. The second playlist that you should make is a playlist of songs by yourself, yes, but also songs by similar artists, so a similar vibe, similar sound. And the reason for that is you own that playlist once again. You can place whoever you want in there. You can support your friends. You can support artists that you would like to collaborate with in the future. You can show a little more about what influences you and who inspires you and give them some love. And when you start these playlists, I will get into it after this, but it's really important to tell people when you add them, because your playlist may have 0 followers, but if you add 100 artists to that playlist and you tell them, there might be a small number of them that may actually share that playlist on their social media and tell people because they're stoked. Eventually that number starts to grow, and then you start to talk to other artists and you start to add them. And I've seen it lead to collaborations. I've seen it lead to support act slots. I've seen it lead to influencing the artists also like, or the related artist section on your profile. So if you look at your profile and you go, I don't really sound like this artist, but Spotify feels that I do. If enough people start listening to your playlist and listening to music from you and all those other artists, it may start to influence that as well. And you may start to see that change and become more accurate. Another feature in Spotify for artists is you can connect it with Songkick, which will pull your concert listings from Songkick into Spotify, show it in the Concerts tab. In the Spotify app on your phone, on the menu on the left-hand side, if you go to Concerts, it will show you all of the upcoming shows in your city from artists that you follow. And obviously, we know that there's not that many shows happening right now in venues, but they're also now showing live streams as well. What's cool about that is it's no longer just saying this artist is in your city. It's saying this artist is performing live tomorrow and you can go and watch this stream. So you can actually reach a lot more people, even if you're not actively out touring the world right now, because you're going live. And what I've seen is those event listings, Spotify are still doing this. From time to time, they will send emails out to Spotify users and say, upcoming concerts from artists that you like, and they'll have links to the artist profile, links to the event as well, so people can go and watch that live stream or buy tickets to that show as well. And all of this is free. So I could spend all day talking about Spotify for artists, but those are some of the most important points that I wanted to mention there. Now, the reason I said that an artist playlist is so important, I wanted to share with you some of the numbers. So these are the top 5 non-editorial playlists that have generated the highest number of listeners and streams for date.
Is that date night there?
Yes. And so in position number 4 is Date Night. That is actually our playlist we curate called Cafe Chill. And you can see that to date, unintended, we've had over 100,000 streams from that playlist for our music. You can see that we have had 8 different songs added into that playlist at various times. And to be honest, we probably still have 8 songs in that playlist because fuck it, we own it and we're cheeky. But how many unique listeners have listened to that playlist and how many total streams you've had for that artist from that playlist. So you can see we're in our own top 5 and 100,000 streams have come from our own playlist. We started this playlist a few years ago. To be honest, we haven't spent much time marketing it or anything like that. The only things we've done is told artists when we add them to the playlist, made sure the curation is on point and people enjoy listening and they don't leave. And we've been able to slide our songs in there when they fit and where they fit, and it's been great for us. And whenever we release a chill track, we know that if it fits in that playlist, we can add it, and we're going to see some streams from that as well, as long as people keep listening and enjoying it. And so on the left here, I've got just a few bullet points as well. Oh, there's that arrow. That's a bit lazy. And as I mentioned, with Date Night, a few things that we did, we also added Cafe Chill as our artist pick. So when we're between releases and we're not hyping up our latest track, we'll say things like, if you're looking for some chill music for your morning, here's our playlist, and direct people from our profile to that playlist as well. But most of the listeners and the follows, I think we have maybe 1,000 followers on that playlist that we've acquired over the years. So, they're pretty loyal, which we appreciate. But most of the people that have come to that playlist is the artists that we've added, telling people about it. We made sure that we kept it very tight with the curation. A couple of things to keep in mind when you curate these playlists is it's tempting to just smash all of your tracks at the start, but the reality is you want the strongest song at the start. So that would be the most familiar or just the dopest track that you have on that playlist.
The song that's going to keep everyone there.
Because we all do this. You go to a playlist and you listen, and then you skip a few songs in and you go, yeah, okay, I like these tracks, I'm going to let this play. So your songs, definitely put them in there, but don't put them at number one unless you're Kanye. People already know they're going to be stoked to hear that track. So we always put other artists at the start of the playlist unless we've just released a new track and we want people to go there as the destination to hear that new track. And then when you've got some value in these playlists, as you can see, we've got some value in there on this one. That's when you can start hitting up other artists that also have curated a playlist and potentially do what a lot of people refer to as trades. And when I talk to Australians about this, I say it's like the ARIA Club Chart DJs. It's every Wednesday at about 2 p.m. It's, hey, bro, hey, mate, hey, champ, just want you to keep this in mind when you're submitting your chart for the week. And, in this case, it's every Friday morning. Hey, bro, hope you're well. Got a new track. Would you mind taking a listen and seeing if it fits your playlist? And if you got anything new, I'll do the same. And I've seen many artists do this, and they just help each other out. And all of those smaller playlists add up. So you might look at it and go, I have a playlist that has less than 100 followers. It gets a few listens. But I have 20 mates that have the same. Let's all start helping each other out, supporting each other's tracks where they fit. And let's give each other's playlist a spin and let's go together. And over time, it does grow, as you can see here. And so it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah, it's all a numbers game. The more network, the stronger your network in fans and in teammates, I suppose, in the industry, the better you're going to do, no matter what, in the long run.
Yeah. Interesting. I just saw a comment on here about Sharif doesn't own Spotify. I'm like, you know what? I don't think he does. Daniel Eck does, but
Cutler's in the chat.
Yeah, that's good fun. I can't wait to dive into this chat after. What we've got left. Okay, we're almost at the end of this, so the Q&A is coming up. So you start smashing those questions in, and we'll get to them in a sec. But just quickly, when I mentioned the total numbers of streams at the start of this, I wanted to give you more of an idea of where they came from and what that looks like. So this is Spotify focused purely. Discover Weekly, it tends to be delivering music to people that aren't following you yet or may not have even ever heard a song from you before. And what's cool about that is it takes into consideration related artists and people that follow artists who are in a specific genre, and it tries to deliver music to them that they may like in hopes of finding new fans for the artist as well. So currently we have had, to date, we have had 10 of our songs included in Discover Weekly and delivered to people around the world. And we've had nearly 500,000 unique listeners that have listened to our songs at least once, and we've had over 1 million streams just from Discover Weekly. And the reason that we got fed into so many people's Discover Weeklies is that submission form in Spotify for Artists that I mentioned. It's not just getting the editorial team to listen to your song. It's telling Spotify what the hell your song is. So it's saying, this is an EDM track. It has saxophone in it. It has piano in it. It has vocals in it, male vocals. It's English, and the hometown or the home city for this artist is Brisbane. And it's giving you all this information that is helping Spotify to try and deliver that song to the right audience. If you don't do that, then your song just sits there with no information attached to it, and it just doesn't necessarily go anywhere. So all of the songs that we've seen that went into Discover Weekly it would happen roughly 10 to 12 weeks after we had filled out that form. We didn't necessarily have much success on those songs when they first came out. But as you can see, Discover Weekly kicked in a few months later, and it's delivered some very nice numbers for us. Then we've got radio. So within Spotify, you can start radio stations, of course, based on an artist. Spotify actually have a separate app that not many people know called Stations. And you log in with your Spotify Premium account, and it's purely radio stations delivered by Spotify. And there's a lot more people that were starting to get on board with that and experiment with it. But what was cool about that was it was just swipe up or swipe down to change the stations, and it was instant. And you could go back to a previous station, and it would pick up where you left off. And so there's more and more numbers coming in on radio with Spotify as well. So if you haven't experimented, go into the App Store and download the Stations app and log in with your Spotify account and check that out as well. It's really good for driving because you can actually do a station based on your release radar and your Discover Weekly, and it just keeps delivering more and more music, and it doesn't stop. It's a lot of fun. It's really addictive. Then Release Radar. I've already mentioned how to get into Release Radar following the submission form. Release Radar is for people that are following you, and as you can see here, nearly 100,000 streams as a result of our songs going to Release Radar and reaching people. Your daily mix, Spotify curate up to 6 mixtapes that will deliver music to you based on your previous listening and songs that you've listened to frequently and the occasional song that you may like or you may have been forgotten about. So that has a very similar feel to Discover Weekly. But in this case, it's almost more like a rediscover. It's tracks that you've listened to multiple times, but you maybe haven't listened to in a while. To give you an idea, my daily mixes, I've got an old school hip hop daily mix. I've got an EDM daily mix. I have a tropical house daily mix from that phase. It really knows me well. It knows what I listened to back then and what I will be listening to now. And then the last one is Your Top Songs, which is purely based on what you listen to the most that year. So I'm shameless. I listened to a lot of Date Night in 2018. But you can see here, 2,500 people listened, so it's okay. And I believe we're at the end of the slides. I'm probably going to call it, that was my last slide. I wasn't meant to share that, but that's just a little rant. This is when reaching out to third-party playlist curators. Number one, not everyone is bro, so you can instantly lose their interest. But the reason I put this up, it was originally a Twitter rant, and it was basically a lot of people I knew, male, female, regardless of gender, were getting these emails saying, "Hey, bro, hope you're well. Anyway, here's my new track. Here's my press kit. Here's a 100 megabyte file of my latest track. It's the 10th master. I'm going to get the final master tomorrow." And all of this shit that was completely just not necessary in this case. So I guess that kind of leads into outreach, and I just wanted to touch on this quickly before the Q&A, which is when you're reaching out to these curators, keep it short and keep it polite. And what I mean by that is if you've never spoken to someone before, you found their playlist, you think you're really clever, you found their Instagram and you're DMing them, don't overload them. The shorter the message, the more likely they are to reply. So if you just say, "Hey, I found your playlist. I think it's great. I heard this artist on there and really like it. Just wondering if you have a submission process, and if so, what is it?" and you basically told them why you're reaching out to them, and you've given them an opportunity to tell you how to actually send them tracks instead of just smashing them with a track, which, believe it or not, they're getting hundreds of them because people are working this out now. And so what I found is with a lot of that outreach, whenever I've done it, the response would be really positive. It would be, wow, thank you for asking. I don't actually like getting submissions sent to my DMs here, but here's my email address. Or I prefer to get all the submissions sent to me in Facebook Messenger because that's how I organize them, and I check them every week on Wednesday. And so that can actually give you more opportunities just by following that. So keep it short and you're more likely to get a response. And just don't overload people in that initial message because you'll scare them. If you've ever received an email that's this long, the first thing you do is say, I'll read it later. I don't have time right now. But if it was 1 or 2 sentences, you'll go, you know what? It's quicker to just reply to this and then close it off and move on. So that was a rant that I wasn't planning on having, but that slide showed up and I was triggered.
I've just added Mike's website down the bottom there on the stream. If you guys check that out, he actually has a submit music page. I was interested to find on his website when I was like dithering around on the internet the other day. So he's actually gone to the trouble of playlists that he's connected with, of creating a page on his website that so that you can basically go on there and you don't have to search around the internet. You can just go like submit music basically directly to playlists. So yeah, that's a valuable asset I saw on his website and well worth just going to check out. Little plug there for you, Mike.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the plug. All right. I think I can stop sharing this screen now and let's dive into Q&A.
So I think the first one I saw was, just your the standard one, how to get more streams or to get onto these editorial playlists. I think you sort of went into pretty vast detail through that.
I hope I gave you some ideas.
Yeah, it's more, I'd say, even just answer it myself, it's about, growing your network and not being a dick about it. Is the easiest way to explain it.
Yeah, look, definitely don't be a dick. I mean, I don't ever have to mention that because it should be. I don't have to tell people don't be an asshole. Be nice. It's like be who you are. If you're a nice person, then that shouldn't change when you're reaching out to a curator. But yeah, being nice does pay off. So just be nice in general.
I think, and then for one I had personally, and it's a sort of to go back, on the importance of artist playlists and sort of the artist curating. What can you go into a little bit more detail on how you've seen? I think you were talking about the curation, whether they do ones that are like artists that instead of just towing their own music in there, like. What sort of can they do? Like, what's the power of that, and what can they do in more detail to help grow those playlists, like to garner fans and sort of access the Spotify algorithm in a sense, to like have the right music on there that people are going to stumble upon their playlist in a sense, or is that even possible anymore?
Oh yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
You can definitely do playlists that make suggestions for people and you can own them. I know I just stopped screen sharing, but I actually just...
Do you want to pop it up?
Reminded me of a playlist I curated. And this is just to give you an idea. I don't actually make music that sounds like Curators, and I haven't dropped any of my own tracks on here. I'm a massive fan of Curators and his production. But essentially... This playlist has done really well organically because not only is it available on Spotify, it's available on, oh boy, here we go, Apple Music, Deezer, Napster, YouTube Music, Spotify, Pandora, Qobuz, and Tidal. And synchronizes in real time across all of them, which is another conversation, super nerdy. But in short, what would happen is whenever I would place an artist in here and I would tell them, not only am I telling them, hey, your music's dope, it reminded me of K-Tronada and it's actually a really good fit on this playlist, here's a link. It's all of that, plus, by the way, the playlist is available on Apple Music, Deezer, YouTube Music, Tidal, Spotify, etc. And it just immediately, the value was multiplied by 8 because it's on 8 different platforms. And so, I've just immediately created more value for that playlist by making it available in more places. And it doesn't actually take any more work for me to do that now. But what you could do here is, if you do make music similar to this artist, you've curated this playlist, it's a well-curated playlist, you own it, you could start slotting in tracks of yours that fit. Obviously, the worst thing that could happen is the artist could find it one day and say, hey, I'm really flattered that you made this playlist and it's songs similar to mine and there's a lot of my music in here, but this song is whack. Can you take it out? I haven't heard of that happening. And I get nothing but compliments from this, because honestly, if people don't like this playlist, then they'll leave. Then they're not going to take the time to send me a message about it. So it's been good fun. And I actually the second track here is Chris Arnott. I added onto there as well. So there's a few Aussies have made it onto this playlist.
How long, like each week, does it take you to do? Is it like a monthly thing or a weekly thing that you do?
You know what? I used to obsess over it, and I used to refresh almost every day. I felt like I needed to cut and paste and make it look fresh, otherwise people would move away. It auto refreshes from the source every 24 hours now. But what I do is I just drag songs in as I discover them, and that's worked a lot better for me than sitting down and forcing myself and going right, curator hat goes on now. Instead, I discovered this song, I really like it, I'm going to put it in this playlist right now. I don't wait. And I feel like the curation's gotten better as a result, because before I would find myself sitting there forcing myself, going, I need to find 10 more tracks to put in this playlist so it's long enough so that I can make it public, or so that I can tell people it's updated. Mm. Whereas now it's just, I update them in real time as I hear a track that fits.
It's sort of one of those things, like, and it's something a lot of artists can take the advice for is as you're going along, you are creating more and more work for yourself. So it's about finding those avenues where you can still do that work and still do those things that you need to do, but also remove yourself from the equation a lot more. And it's something, even for myself, like I've had to do this year, where especially with COVID, like now all of a sudden you're trying to you've got 28 hats on, because you're like trying to diversify, as an artist, you're trying to diversify your business, and you're trying to do all these other things that will hopefully expand your reach, getting your music out there. And for an agency, it's like, okay, well, we need to have more of our content available online in a like I saw you've got your Teachable up there as well, like things like that, where online courses are happening more and more. And it's like, okay, well, how do I do all these things? And it's like, okay, well, I need to find people in my life or avenues that I can still do these things, but not have them take up literally all of my time. So then I can't do the thing that I originally intended to do, which was make music. For an artist, or for me, run an agency. You've got to. Mike's here giving you these, and myself here giving you these tidbits and these actions that you can take. But it's also not so you don't lose focus on making your music. It's so you can get better and start figuring out a way to streamline this stuff, so it doesn't become a burden in the end, but it just becomes something that adds value to your overall brand.
I appreciate you saying that, because it's so true. What I say to artists is, I say, at the start, it's just you. Eventually you may have a team, you may have a label, you may have all of these people and all of these things and doing all the work for you. But initially it's on you to get to that level. And what I like is, artists can do all of these things that I've said, have an understanding of them. They may continue to maintain these things themselves and do the work and go into Spotify for Artists and all of that. Or they may decide, you know what, I'm going to employ someone to do it a few hours a week for me because I see the value in it now. Or they may say, you know what, when a label comes my way, I'm going to ask them these questions and I'm going to be more prepared and know what I want out of them and have those expectations. Either way, it's only going to benefit you in the end. Because you know exactly what is needed and you can make sure it's getting done correctly because you were doing it in the beginning. And so, yeah, I'm not saying that necessarily you will always be doing this forever. Some people do it and, you know, it doesn't take that long and they enjoy doing it. And other people will very quickly as they grow, they'll find a team of people to do all these different tasks for them. But at least you know what you're looking for and what needs to be done. And the time that, you know, we talked about the artist playlist. Every time you drop a new track, you drag it in that playlist. That's it. It's not going to take any more time than that. And then the other playlists that you curate, you don't have to be updating it every day or every week. You can just drag in new songs as you feel like it. It's fun. I mean, most artists listen to music when they're not creating. Whenever you hear a song you like that fits in your playlist, just drag it in. It doesn't have to be any more complex than that.
Yeah, for sure. It's about keeping that you know, keeping it exciting for you rather than becoming just another task, like updating your socials, etc. You want to you want to try and eliminate anything that's not something that you're vibing with and that you feel passionate about, I suppose, at the same time.
Yeah, and look, if you DJ and you've got your set in Record Box, replicate that as a playlist. I mean, you know, that's a great starting point. A lot of us don't necessarily think we're curators, but we realize, hey, we know what we like. We know how we like to listen to it.
That's such a solid idea. Like straight away, you can just because obviously we have a lot of DJs on here as well, or just you know, budding producers that are DJs that haven't got any music out yet. That's a good way to start and just get yourself in the habit of doing it. Is to just turn your playlist that you're going out there and. Because it's the funny thing is you're exactly right. Like that's the exact right term. You're a curator already as a DJ because you're finding these tunes. Not at the moment, obviously, because a lot of us aren't playing in venues anywhere. But previously, you're a curator of a venue and music that works in that venue. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a job in the first place. So a good way to access those same fans. And we did the same thing actually with Rattlesnake, a club here on the Gold Coast that I was doing all the bookings for and DJing at. We had all the residents create their own playlists, and you know, that was a lot of work in itself just to get them all to do that and then get them to try and update it every like couple of months. But what we found is everyone ended up with like 20 or 30 followers of playlists. So, and it just showed you, and it wasn't your mates or anything like that. It was random people from the venue that would come to the venue to see that DJ play, and that was without us really even pushing it. It was just like once a month there'd be a post saying, "Oh, you can check out our Spotify playlists," and you know, straight away, that's 20 or 30 fans you didn't know you had that probably weren't accessing you any other way. So, and that was with zero promotion.
Yeah. And what's cool about that is the venue. They have DJs, of course, but a lot of those DJs have their own productions. So you're actually generating some revenue for them. And you're also promoting the venue because the venue's name, branding, a photo of the venue is up on the playlist as the artwork. It's definitely worth doing. You know, I just kind of...
and it's something that not enough venues are doing at all.
Yeah.
Like, it's something that's so simple, and when you talk about it and think about it, like it's a level of promotion, and like that's the first venue I've seen do it on the Gold Coast.
It sounds so corny, but the hardest thing to do is start with most of this stuff. I hate saying it because it's so common and it's just like the most basic advice, but it's true. I mean, if you go into Spotify, you go file, new playlist, start dragging some songs in. If you're not having fun, maybe it's not for you, but you should find pretty quickly that you're actually enjoying this and you start playing it, and then you put it on shuffle, you jump in the car and see how random it can sound or if it works. And, if you don't enjoy listening to the playlist yourself, you can't expect anyone else to enjoy listening to it. It's just like the music you create. If you go, oh, I can't even handle listening to this, it's going to show it. So there has to be love in it, and it has to be from the heart. As being corny once again. I did want to mention something I just remembered about Twitch and Amazon Music, who I don't work for yet.
Not yet.
Is this integration is live now. So when you're in Twitch, you can add an Amazon Music integration. And what happens is you can actually say, hey, everyone, if you've got an Amazon Music account, click the button down the bottom and sign in, and you can listen to the same playlist together at the same time. So if you have 500 people and you're hosting a conference, you can go, hey, in between speakers, we've got the playlist cranking away. And you've got 500 listeners logged into their Amazon Music account.
Raping plays.
Simultaneously.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's social listening is getting bigger. I'm not sure if Spotify are doing this there, but they have the option where when you're listening in the app on your phone, you can actually invite up to 5 other people to listen with you at the exact same time, and it plays in perfect sync. So if you're in the same room, it's like 6 little phones. But if you're around the world, you're all listening at the same time.
Yeah, can you link me to that, or link us to that, so I can put that in the show notes? Because what you've just said that's like, the fact that I haven't heard about it and I'm not seeing anyone do it currently is fucking mind-boggling. Like imagine someone like Bevo just hopping online and just going, yeah, look, like, not that he needs more money or plays, but think about the hundreds of thousands of people, and he can be like, yeah, everyone that's got Amazon, because it's mostly American fans, hop online, hop in your account, we'll just get 1 million streams right now. Boom, there you go. Woo!
Yeah.
Give me that cash.
That's it. And exactly what you said. It's endless. It's not, this is limited to X amount of people. It's everyone that's on your Twitch stream that has an Amazon Music account. Follow what you say, and you're all streaming at the same time. I mean, I think it's really exciting, the potential there to have a listening party, and everyone can control the volume themselves.
Yeah.
Instead of the artists fumbling around trying to get it right and play one stream to 1,000 people. 1,000 people are streaming it at the exact same time and controlling the volume.
Yeah, a listening party for an album, that's obviously just going to happen. Like, that's a given already within the next 6 to 12 months. We'll see someone smash some sort of record on a listening party.
Definitely. Well, here's the crazy part. We've got people that are live streaming games where they're playing for 4 hours. There's now artists dying to get on their playlist to get played during those streams.
Yeah, of course.
Why not?
It's like YouTube trailers, all that sort of shit. Anything that's anything with a popular person attached to it, everyone's dying to get their music. But the thing is, not enough people are dying to do that. Like, that's still, if I mention that to people, it's still something that's not quite common. It's still foreign and seen as like a lot of people. A lot of stuff I hear is like, I wouldn't do it that way. Like, I want to do it. I want to come up the right way. Like, it's like, but everything is the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're just hamstringing yourself by not getting your music out to more people. Like, that's. But it seems like people just want to do like the proper way. You get it on someone's stream, like, that's just like, you're just hacking the system there.
I've made so many mistakes and had so many fails and L's in this process, and I had to. And it's like, with Twitch, the first few times I went on, it was a terrible experience for me. It got better.
You and me both.
Yeah. So and the best part about Twitch, for anyone that's nervous about live streaming and what if I make a dick of myself? What if I mess up? They automatically delete the streams after 2 weeks. So, and you can delete it immediately after if you really want. So for that, I kind of look at it and I go, whatever I say, like, I don't ever say anything that I need to delete, but if it doesn't go well, then I have that peace of mind that I can take it down, or it'll just eventually after 2 weeks it's gone. So
Then we've like the first, because obviously we were doing live streaming, like we probably did about 4 or 5, and then before COVID we started doing every week, and then I think probably the first 2 months, every second week, no doubt there'd be some sort of sound issue or a camera issue or not enough lighting. It's like, if you don't try it, you're never going to learn, and if you don't become a part of it, it's just something that you're never going to experience. And it's like something that's been I've found live streaming to be very rewarding and extreme. Like it's like a new challenge every single week. Even the better I get at it, and the better we do, it's still like, oh, we almost beat that record last week. Like let's aim for something bigger, or let's do something bigger, and you start to think of new ideas, like us chatting about having a request line and using WhatsApp or community, as you said. Like you continue to push yourself to add more stuff, and I think playlisting should be a big part of that for everyone as well.
And look, the cool thing about Twitch is, I've had people say to me, how long have you been on there? And I signed up maybe 6 weeks ago. And it's just been a lot of experimenting on here. I'm no expert, but I'm having fun learning and watching how other people do it as well. It's
we've got
about it. And when I first went live, one of the first times I went live on Twitch, no one was watching, of course, and one person showed up, some random, and I'm like, hey, how'd you find me? And they go, well, Twitch actually let you sort by number of viewers, so I always go
at the bottom,
who's viewing and join in. I'm like, oh, what? So you even get like pity views at the start. I'll take it. And they ended up following me after that, and now they're one of my followers whenever I go live. It's fun. So they're prepared to help you. They're not just showcasing the people that have big followings on there already. They're like, hey, this person's new, or this person is doing something cool right now. And, if you don't feel like singing, you can jump on and play a game and have your microphone and just chat to anyone that joins you. Like, people love that. It's good company for them.
We've got, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Bri and Sai. They're my first live musicians that came on our live stream. They're actually, I'm getting it back in a couple of months, but they've just, we're on CD Baby with 2 releases, but very early days for us. If you guys are into electronic, real old school garagey, I'd say it's like more 80s, 90s synthwave vibe. And they're just talking about submission forms sound great, and also making some playlists that I love music. Yeah, guys, definitely with your particular taste of music and the brand of your style of music, and it's so nichey, making a playlist would be is literally something you should definitely do, because it's not so vanilla that you'll be able to really, as Mike was saying in the chat earlier, that you can start tagging people in your bio, artists like, or you can make playlists artists like, and start connecting with other artists that are like you, because you're so nichey. There's not going to be many of them, so you're going to be able to find it much easier to connect with those artists, opposed to someone else that's a little bit more vanilla than you guys.
Oh man, that just reminded me as well. Collaborating with other artists is a big one. And not just because you learn from each other and you have your own skills and your own sounds and things like that. That's all great. But when you are both tagged as main artists, so artist A and artist B instead of artist A featuring artist B, what happens is you each get the amount of reach and access to all the cool stuff we just talked about. So 2 artists write a track, create a track together, and the track is released as main artist A and main artist B. Both artists get to submit it to Spotify and fill out their own submission form, get it into release radar for their followers, and all of those opportunities. So you're doubling your shot at getting somewhere, and you're reaching both audiences. And it shows as the latest release on both of your profiles as well. So it's definitely worth doing, and especially when you see some of these massive collabs where there's up to 5 main artists. For Spotify in particular, you can have up to 5 main artists or 5 featured artists. Any more than that, and it becomes various artists. But to give you an idea, I always go to extremes with this, but Diplo, every project he is in, even if it's Diplo, he tags himself as a main artist because he has, 2.2 million followers on Spotify. So Diplo can do a brand new project and make country music and have no followers, but he can tag Diplo and reach 2.2 million followers, and boom, he's set. Duck Sauce, all of their tracks, they tag A-Track and Armand Van Helden as main artists as well. And then what was it? When they did Electric City as well, they made sure they tagged themselves as main artists. So
you just recycling, reconnecting back with your previous fans, and it's like as you said with Diplo in particular, we're open to the fact, like if you enjoy an artist, you're open to the fact of hearing them do something different. Like it's a much different world. People aren't like such like so particular about what they want that artist to produce anymore. I feel like that wall's, there are the hardcore fans that are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. But like I feel like if you bring something new to the table, a lot of the current fans are going to be like, oh wow, I'm willing to give this a listen at least. Whether I like it or not is going to be a different story. But the cut loose in here in the chat is just elaborate on how you can collab on a playlist.
Collab on a playlist, okay.
Yeah, I know that feature's available on Spotify, isn't it? You can turn on.
Yeah, look. So what happens is, if you make a collaborative playlist, it has to be private. So when you right-click on a playlist in Spotify, you've got the option to make it public. You've also got the option to make it a collaborative playlist, which means that anyone that sees that playlist, is following it, can delete songs, add songs. It tends to get out of control really quick. If you've got a close bunch of friends and you share it might be fine, but eventually you might have to turn that off. Because what can happen is, let's say, Brock, you made a playlist that was collaborative right now, and then you sent me the link, and then I went and posted it on Reddit. Very quickly, anyone that has that link can open it, drag their tracks in, and it becomes a clusterfuck of music.
That's another good. Sorry, just to interrupt again. The Reddit's a really good place to connect with other artists on all sorts of things too. For those of you in here that aren't using Reddit, get on Reddit. Now, pronto. But yeah, I think Carlos is even talking about just as artists. Like I suppose that you would just go in that submission form sort of phase, wouldn't you? Where you would have the playlist and you'd have control over it, and then you'd be working with, let's say, another 2 or 3 artists, and they'd all have creative control as well, and you just sort of go, okay, they just submit you tracks that they think are going to be good ones.
Yeah, I mean, this would definitely be another session. I don't want to start on this now.
We'll go for another hour.
But for people that want to get crazy nerdy with this stuff, there's definitely tools out there, and I'm not going to explain the entire process because of just how complex it is, and it's not for everyone. But essentially, yes, you have that private collaborative playlist. You could have a few mates there. You could be curating up everything in that. Then there's services out there where you can take that private playlist and have a public version that is available to everyone else to follow. So essentially it looks at that and goes, I'm going to copy all of the tracks from the private playlist into a public playlist that everyone else follows and they can't mess with. That's step one. And then the next step is having multiple variations of that playlist across all of the other streaming platforms and having it all automated. So the work that you do is all done in that private collaborative playlist, and everything else is updating automatically for you. The site that I use for that, if anybody does want to mess around with it, is Soundies, soundiiz.com. And
Soundies, you.
yeah, I love it. So you can basically just set it on auto and you don't have to log in and press any buttons. It's done. I've used it and had a lot of fun experimenting with it. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like you have the master playlist, and then you have all of the other playlists that are public that everyone else follows that take from that. And you can randomize it so it's different on each of the streaming platforms. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's another session. We can't get into it now.
Well, good. I think we can pretty much wrap it up there, eh? We've had a nice little chat about everything. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
Oh, look, you've already got the shameless plugs in for me. I really appreciate that.
Bring it back up.
Boom. Should start tossing the book around. No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, anytime you learn stuff like this, share it with your fellow artists. We're not in competition with each other. There's enough room for everyone right now to succeed and to grow. And we can all grow quicker if we share what we learn. So you don't have to send people directly to me or Brock. I mean, we love you and we appreciate it. But whatever you learned today, if you see your mate, tell them this. Share this information. Share what you've learned, because they may do the same for you a week later. And that's how we all grow together.
I agree. I think that's the biggest pull away from anything. Always is to share it around. Don't hold on to it. You're not competing with one person, you're competing with the whole industry, so you may as well help the whole industry get up rather than just focus on yourself. Because you never know, something you share, you could get something back just as powerful, shared back from a friend or a fellow artist that is giving gratitude back to you for the thing that you've shared with them. So it's all about bringing the whole industry up together rather than sort of competing. But yeah, thanks, Mike.
And then we get to celebrate together. I mean, I get to hear from an artist. I told them to get their ass into gear and sign up with Apple Music for Artists and do this. And then they come back to me and they tell me some good news. And I get to have a little celebration with them. So, it feels good to help each other. And 100%. That was my TED Talk.
But yeah, that's been Mike Warner. Thank you guys so much for everyone that's joined and been active in the chat. Really appreciate it. Mike, I'm sure we'll talk again soon and maybe go into depth about a few other things that we got into there. But yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. Make sure to check out his website, especially if you need. There's a submissions page on there that he's linked up with a bunch of other third-party playlists in there, and you can go check it out and maybe submit your music if you feel like it's worthy. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everyone.